first of all, Antimage, thank you very much for being here. And I do have to ask, like, one of the first questions, because we've seen MSC this time much different meta than what we've been seeing in MPL, MY, ID, and PH in the previous patch. So, Antimage, what do you think about the new patch for MSC?
I think it's good because Assassins is a lot of team use Assassin right now, right? So yeah, I think the meta is more better now.
Honestly, our analysts as well, we've seen a lot of games. How do you guys feel about the new patch update?
Yeah, I mean, I like it a lot because we've seen a lot of differences now. I mean, how long have we been under the utility jungler meta? Like, so a bit like
one year and a plus, 1 year plus.
Yeah,
4 pretty much, and all.
Yeah.
it's pretty much it for. So I think I'm very happy about the change the meta game. What I don't like though is the lore dance though. Maybe that's a little bit of change up because I always love that kind of strategic way of approaching the lore dance. But hey, I mean, if it means that we're gonna get a lot of like team fights, a lot of killing, yeah, that's okay for me.
For me, I enjoy the meta. I enjoyed that. It still feels like some utility jungles are possible. It feels like the pools overall have grown. The only thing I don't like is how fast some of the games are now. I feel like we haven't had a single game go like 28 minutes. You know,
It's very rare.
Where you're on the edge of your seat, and that's something I kind of miss.
Now, Antimage, I'm sorry to ask you this question, but right now we have a new landscape of competitive MLBB. This is like, I can't remember the last time we don't see an Indonesian team going to the knockouts or playoffs. So, from your standpoint, because you've been playing for a very long time, how does it feel that Indonesia is not here in the knockout stage for MSC?
First of all, I feel very sad, but I think we will come back stronger in next M series, M6 in Malaysia, and I think the reason why Indonesia is not here right now it's because they're not very adaptive in this meta, and they play like best of 2, right?
Yeah.
So, and Indonesia is not very good at best of 1 or best of 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
So actually, I want to ask about that because Indonesia, again, a very strong region.
Yeah.
Like you said, very strong best of 3, best of 5, best of 7. So what's the big difference between best of 1 and best of 2 compared to the other format?
I think the stronger team is better playing in best of 3. Best of 5, best of 7, and I think Indonesia. They got surprised in the group stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
And honestly, like we've seen surprises because of this best of 2 where we're talking about it. It's very brutal. Like Wolf, you were talking about how losing a best of 2 feels like losing 2 full series.
Yeah, especially if it's just like there are 4 teams only in a group, right? And then you get the top 2. It's like if you lose 2-0, it kind of feels like you already lost. It's like you only have one last life. It's like going to the lower bracket, like directly. That you have to win back-to-back matches, like what See You Soon did, for example. Fireflux also did that. So that's really what I feel about like losing a best of 2.
And it was even tougher because if you get the 1-1, you don't get a point.
Exactly.
You just null. So let's say you're -2 and then you go 1-1, you still stay at -2.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely a very brutal group stage.
Honestly, we got to talk about the Lord Dance as well because we have Antimage. He's been playing the game for a long time, competitively as well. And Wolf, you touch on the Lord Dance. Now, I have some stats here. Looking at the fastest game time is between Liquid Echo going up against Twisted Minds. It was 10 minutes, 50 seconds. At most, it was just 1 Lord spawn. Longest game is KBG going up against Xeno Zenith. It's 26 minutes and 28 seconds. So that's a pretty long game. And I can't remember how many Lords were there at that time. Now, the average game time, at least for wildcards, it's 16 minutes. So at most, we'll see 1 or 2 Lords. So for Antimage, playing the game right now, what do you think about the Lord Dance? Do you like it? Do you don't like it? Is it risky or it's still safe to do the Lord Dance?
I think the Lord Dance right now is more hard than before, and I think the hero that have more AoE or burst damage is better. Like for example, in XP right now, Terizla is very strong, and need to be in the first pick, Terizla. So I think the Lord Dance right now is more variative also.
Yeah, honestly, like I have to agree with that because in the MSC, a lot of teams are picking up the Terizla. Even we see Terizla getting banned out in the first phase. So, Antimage, you play in the EXP as well. Personally, for you, even in ranked games, what do you think is the top 3 EXP laners right now? Like you said, Terizla. Is there other 2 picks that we have to be careful of?
I think Terizla, Yuzong, and Xbox, because those 3 is very good at war, you know.
Yeah.
And at the Lord Dance, they're very good.
Yeah, and honestly, talking about the Lord Dance as well, in terms of control, Liquid Echo has 90% Lord control. Falcons and Brand 78.5 and SRG 78.2, which I guess they are the favorites in this matchup. But again, over 70% of all 3 teams, that's amazing, Trax.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams, we've seen it with some of the previous teams that either didn't make it this far or fell a little bit short. They have a lot of trouble around that Lord Pit. They have a lot of trouble. Even, I mean, just objectives overall, it's just difficult. And I think one of the reasons why, one of the big changes, one of the reasons why we're seeing so much damage on teams in terms of jungle and gold is because the goal is kind of get the team away from the Lord and then rush it down as fast as possible.
Yeah.
You don't want to sit around that Lord too long. You don't want to sit there. You need to try to make sure you're able to either get a couple kills and rush it, or we've seen a couple, tricky plays where they're able to push them back and rush it. I mean, it's about trying to get it in fast.
Now, Antimage, looking at MSC, I think we have to ask this for everyone, right? Out of all the teams performing, which team got your eye as well as which player? Because the teams, sure, TLPH as well as Falcons and Brand is looking pretty strong, but very interesting to see what you think about the players. Which player do you think is going to be the star player of MSC?
For me, TLPH and Brand is a strong contender, and most likely they will win. But I think SRG have a chance, to be able to compete with those 2 Philippine teams. And I think I got my eyes on Sekis. Because, Sekis, because in SRG, he's playing Assassin and his mechanic is very good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like seeing Kyrie back in M3 and M4 for me.
What's your opinion seeing now Singapore with this all-star team? Like, we haven't seen Singapore performing this well for a very long time. The same as Malaysia. It's been such a long time since we've seen 2 Malaysian teams go to the knockout or playoff stage. So what do you think about these 2 regions?
First of all, I think Singapore going into the playoff and strong like this, I think it's very surprising for me, because I think Malaysia and Singapore before is very competitive in MLBB, right? And their standard is almost the same. But throughout the years, I think Malaysia is going up more than the Singapore. But today I see Singapore play very good MLBB.
Yeah. Now, looking at this matchup, Homeboys going up against NIP Flash, who do you think that we have to look out for? Because I was able to have an interview with Zorn, and Zorn said NIP Flash won't be able to stop him from invading the jungle.
Yeah, I think for NIP, I think the star is, we all know it is Diablo, right? Because his hero is very unpredictable.
Yeah.
He's playing Min Sitar, Benedetta damage, Papito damage, and his playstyle is like I kill you and I die, it's okay. It's like the marksman die and I die, you know?
Yeah. If I die,
that kind of that kind of playstyle. But I think Homeboys and IP, I think I'll favor Homeboys. Still.
You favor Homeboys, but while we're on that, I actually have to ask, like, what's your opinion between 2 styles of EXP where we see a lot of like tanky EXPs, but what do you think about damage dealer EXP players?
Damage, it depends on the jungle, I think. If you play like Paquito and Benedetta, you cannot pick that hero with assassin, because it cannot 2 assassin in one team is very bad for me.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Wolf?
No, I definitely agree. I think it has been known that during pre-M5, this was MPL season 12. Pre-M5, Fnatic, Onic, then Onic Esports, they are utilizing Ling if they have like Barats in the XP.
Yeah.
But not even Barats, Uranus, for example. They will pick up Nolan, they will pick up Hayabusa, for example, or Ling and Fanny if if Boots will play sustain heroes,
Yeah.
right? But then if you want to go for damagers, you want to go for utility junglers now, so that you have a frontliner for a team, especially during that time where the Lord Dance was very important. You have to somebody has to attack the Lord. Now, most especially, you cannot have squishy heroes only because it will be very bad for your Lord Dance. So if you want to go damage dealing EXP, you have to look for utility junglers or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah, I
agree,
mean, even
totally
at the
agree.
end of, even at the end of M5, we were seeing like full damage Khalid's. We were
Yeah.
seeing like big damage EXP laners, and now we're seeing Terizla first item
Queen's
wings. You know, I mean, it's definitely a big
Yeah.
change up, and the teams who have adapted the best are the ones
Yeah.
who are still around here. I'm excited to see how NIP Flash pulls through.
Yeah.
Very simple question for Antimage as well, because going up against NIP Flash is a very unique situation where the EXP laner is able to use damage dealers and can carry the game. So for Homeboys, do you think they just play like they normally play, or do they have to change their play style to match against NIP Flash?
I think they need to play usually their play style, because I like Homeboy's play style.
Oh, okay.
Usually when Sorn is going into the enemy jungle and Udil is winning his lane, so like their mid lane is winning like a lot. And I think this job to lock Diablo is sepat job, you know. So I think they don't need to change their play style.
With that being said, I feel like one of the last questions I do have to ask, because you know Udil very, very well. Can you give us an insight of how Udil is in person?
Udil, his leadership I think is very good, and he's very technical and detailed. But I think he need to keep his emotions in check, you know,
Oh.
because this is best of 5, and he cannot be spicy before he win. You know,
Win first before it becomes spicy.
yes.
All right.
Actually, that's very interesting. I didn't know that Udil can be even spicy to his own team. But still, just to confirm, you feel like Homeboys can win against NIP Flash?
I think, yeah, big chance Homeboys will win.
What's the score? 3-0, 3-1, 3-2?
Let me think. I think 3-1.
3-1.
3-1.
Honestly, that's a very commendable score. Again, thank you very much, Antimage. But the thing is,